Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Dan Reviews It, this time tackling the new Disney movie, A Wrinkle in Time. And it's kind of funny because coming up, I've already filmed this with Merlin, but I'm going to be posting a review show called The Disney Bombs, and we're going to tackle John Carter, The Lone Ranger, and Tomorrowland, three live-action Disney movies in the last 7 or 8 years that just kind of fizzled at the box office. We talked about doing a volume 2 at some point, and A Wrinkle in Time might be one of them. It did not do that great at the box office. It was shot for a lot of money. $100 million, so not a ton, but still, it only made $39 million opening weekend. So, considered by many to be a bomb. But the question is it any good? So I'm not familiar with the original source material. It's a very popular book from 1962. I never read it. I'm not sure if I ever even heard of it. Maybe I've heard of it in passing, but it was not part of my youth. So I just never knew much about it. And then I heard they were going to do this movie, and Oprah was attached and going to be starring in it, and Reese Witherspoon and all of this, and Disney was doing it. So I was like, okay, well, let's see how it's going to be. And then the reviews started coming in, and they were not that great. So I went to see it yesterday, and yeah, no, it's not that great. It's kind of a mess, to be completely honest. So the basic storyline is this middle school girl who is brilliant, but just kind of doesn't know it yet. She was born of two physicists, Chris Pine, who disappeared 4 years earlier, into, well, they don't know at the time, but into this other world, sort of, from this tesseract that, I don't know if he invented or discovered or what the story was, but, certainly believed in and was showing it at conferences and stuff, and nobody believed him. And then the mom is played by Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who I love. She's always very good. So they're sort of struggling with the loss of their father and the girl being bullied at school, and then she has a little brother who was adopted who also is brilliant, but he does know it, and so he sort of looks out for the sister. Anyway, he introduces her to these three otherworldly women. You've got Mrs. Who, which is Reese Witherspoon, Mrs. What's-It, which is Mindy Kaling, who I usually love, and then Mrs. Witch, who is played by Oprah. Now, first of all, I thought they were saying witch like W-I-T-C-H, like good, bad witch of the West, wicked witch of the West, that kind of thing. But no, they were saying witch like W-H-I-C-H, like who, what, where, which. So that was lost on me because they never showed it on the screen or anything, so I didn't really get that. I was wondering why she was a witch, but anyway, maybe that was my stupidity. But, so for one thing, the dialogue is just not that good. There's a lot of really corny lines, and with any Disney PG movie, I think you're going to get some modicum of that, but here it's a little bit overkill, and also the acting is not great. Chris Pine is awesome. I was extolling his virtues just yesterday with my Oscar wrap-up, or my best of the year when I was talking about Wonder Woman. Chris Pine over the last few years has really, really shown me that he absolutely, belongs in this high pantheon of Chris's that there are with, Hemsworth and Pratt and Evans. He really is talented, and he gives the best performance here. Unfortunately, he's not in it very much because most of the movie is them searching for him in the other world. We see him in flashbacks a little bit, but really not much. And then, Gugu Mbatha-Raw is good as well, but the child actors are not very good. There's a few cameos that I enjoyed. I'm not going to give them away, but people that they find on their journey, and that definitely added something for me. I think the adults in the theater will like it. Kids probably won't know who they are. But it just wasn't coming together. Like the first I would say 20 to 25 minutes was just really confusing between the flashbacks and Mrs. Who just showing up with literally like no explanation. They don't explain to you how this boy knows her. Like they, explain that he's a genius, but like where are these people coming from? we don't really know. All Mrs. Who says is like, oh, well, the Tesseract is real. Okay, I guess that explains maybe why you're here, but like, it doesn't explain why the kid knows who you are. There was a lot of plot inconsistencies like that. Like in one scene, so the girl, like I said, is a genius, and so she puts on these. They're not even really glasses, sort of like a magnifying glass type thing, but it's a thing to see, physics stuff. So she sees. This is when they're in one of the other worlds, but she sees these like invisible staircases and stuff, and so then she takes off the glasses, and then she steps immediately, like where they are, up to the top, and it's like, okay, maybe you use the glasses for that, since with the glasses you can see them, but without you can't. Like, it was just stuff like that. Maybe it's a little nitpicky, I don't know, but certainly there's a plot hole problem. And then Ava DuVernay directed it, who directed Selma. Like, great movie, but obviously drama only. This was so bogged down with effects. I think DuVernay got kind of suffocated with what effects she wanted to use, and it wasn't that great CGI, which you can tell because, like I said, the budget was $100 million, which is good. But when you look at something like, when we were doing the Disney Bomb podcast, I looked up all the totals of how much these movies were made for, and it's like John Carter was made for like $250 million. So it's like, yeah, okay, there were aliens, but like this was very effects heavy once they got into the other world, which really is probably the last hour plus of the movie. So like, the CGI wasn't that great, and then in addition to it, DuVernay just gets bogged down with it. I don't think she quite has a handle on how to utilize it, so that was a problem. And then just when we go to the real world, in the first half hour of the movie, like, this girl's constantly getting bullied by everybody. Nobody cares. The teachers are passé about it. The principal's like, oh, you need to apologize to this girl, for throwing a volleyball at her face. And it's like, okay, but that's fine. Like, I get it. But, like, she literally told me that no wonder your dad left you. Like, she's being a bitch. Like, is this just what we do now? Like, we just don't care who's bullied, I don't know. It's so, like, that just seemed ridiculous. And then there's this boy that comes from out of nowhere, and he, like, goes with them to the other world, but, like, I still never really got a sense of, like, why he popped up, like, where he came from. I mean, I know she goes to school with him, but, like, there was no indication that they were friends. Like, it just, I don't know if maybe it needed more backstory. It doesn't need to be longer, that's for sure. It's a good length. It's an hour and 47 minutes. Like, one of the things Merlin and I talked about was how horribly long some of these other Disney ones were. Like, over 2 hours, 2.5 hours for the Lone Ranger. Like, hour 47's fine, but maybe just some fleshing out could have been good. Take some of the stupid dialogue and replace it with a little bit of exposition. But okay, so it's not the worst thing I've seen. I'm not going to fail it or anything. So here's the good things. Obviously, Chris Pine, come on, the guy's great. And Gugu Mbatha-Raw. I mean, they are good, and she especially is very grounded, as the mom, and she gives some good emotion. And I like the themes of the movie. I do. There's a lot of empowerment themes, and embrace your flaws kind of themes, and those are good. They're good themes. I just wish they were utilized better. Some of the otherworldly stuff was interesting. I'm not sure if I was ever bored with the movie. It was more like confusion, like what's going on. I don't think they explain this either. Like, at one point, Oprah is enormous. She plays kind of like the god of the movie. And then they go to this other world, and she's like normal size. And maybe I missed it, but I don't think they ever said like why she became normal size. So, stuff like that. But anyway, I was trying to focus on the positives. But yeah, so the themes are good. Some of the acting is good. I mean, the little girl is okay. The little boy is not good. I'm sure he's a nice kid, but he is just not good in this. And they don't give him the best lines anyway. He has some corny lines, but he overacts, is the problem. the little girl's okay, and the little boy that goes with them is fine too. But it's just some of the dialogue. So, it's not awful. I've seen worse Disney movies, but this, for its classic book status, like I said, I didn't read it, so I don't know, but obviously it's been around in print for 60 years, more than 60 years, so, obviously it's a great book, right? But it did not translate to the screen. I leave A Wrinkle in Time with a C-. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Check out all the other videos. There's a ton of them up right now. I've been putting them up, every few days, really, since the channel got relaunched. So look for that. And like I said in one of the other ones, soon I got this idea from Merlin. We're going to kind of take a tour of my basement, which I call the archives, which is, where you see all of these great DVDs. There's a lot more where that came from, over 10,000 CDs and thousands of records and a ton of DVDs and TV shows on DVD. So we're going to kind of peruse the archives in future shows and, take a look at some stuff, I guess. And I don't know, that should be fun. But for now, that'll do it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.